Hello, everybody. Hope you're all wonderful. I'm feeling much better this week. Although I had a funny old week last week, very, very busy this week, in terms of clients, but last week I had the week off for my daughter's birthday, and we had a incredible week planned out of fun things to do. And I want to share this little story just to kind of highlight to people how easy it is to have entities become attached to you. And this is the whole point that I speak about regarding emotional mastery. And the entities are here literally as a tool for our evolution because they are here to show us that every time you fall into anger or a lower frequency emotion, the only path that that leads to is to get in an entity. And even though I talk about this and I educate people around this and I train people around this, I myself am also subject to the same rules as everybody else, to the same set of scenarios that can occur as everybody else. Now, for the most part, because of what I do and the fact that I take these low frequency energies off of people for a living, um, I am normally very, very good at managing my emotional responses to things. I trained myself a long time ago not to get angry to anything that anybody does to me. And believe you me, I have a lot of people whose mission in life, it would seem, is to try and make me angry. Um, but I had a situation happen to me last week where I literally, for 3 hours, ended up with an entity on me. And it was quite interesting how this occurred. And I've learned a lot from this particular scenario. And that's why I wanted to share it with people to try and help people to understand just how quick this can occur. So entities attach when they are magnetically sucked towards the frequency of the emotional energy that you are releasing in your chakra, in your light, in the energetic body. So last week we went to a theme park for my daughter's birthday, and my elder daughter was having a brilliant time riding around on these cars, bit like Dodgem cars that you're not supposed to smash them into the back of somebody else. You're just supposed to go around this track. But there was a boy um, who quite obviously had a demon on him from his behavior, who took an instant dislike to my daughter and started chasing her around this track with his car and smashing into the back of her. In the end, my daughter got really angry, got out of her car and shouted at him to stop it. And he did. He looked kind of really sheepish, this boy, and he stopped. And then my daughter walked away and she was so angry. She was incandescent with rage. And I remember standing with her in this theme park, really calmly myself, not getting sucked into her anger, really calmly calming her down. Then I forgot all about it because it was a family day out and I was on holiday and etc. etc. Anyway, should know better, shouldn't I really, given what I do for a living? But my guard was down because I was on holiday and I needed a break from entity release. And I was told a long time ago by a demon that there is no break for me. Wherever I go, they will be there. And I guess that's the can't think of the relevant word, but burden isn't the right word, but that's the burden that I have chosen to carry. So anyway, my daughter's been acting really strange since that day, and she did something particularly unpleasant to my youngest child that was very unpleasant, totally out of character for my daughter, totally out of character because she's an incredible person. And this thing that she did was so bad, I lost my cool. I lost it for a brief moment. I think I said two sentences of shouting, but I was angry. Then I managed to calm myself down, found my Zen space, and I proceeded to explain to her calmly why it is that she shouldn't have done what she'd done. Anyway, later that day, about an hour later, I'm thinking to myself, I am so angry. Why am I so angry? And as the day progressed, it got worse and worse and worse till I was literally pacing up and down in our hallway, thinking, I need to do something. I need to go for a run. I need to get a punch bag. I don't know what it is that I need to do, but I need to release this energy. I felt incandescent with rage. I was so angry. And my little girl, my elder child, the one who originally had the energy attached to them, came into the hall. And I knew something was different. I said, you look like you're back to normal. And she said, yeah, I feel amazing. I feel so good. I feel like I was so angry for the past few days, since that boy did what he did to me. But all of a sudden this afternoon, it's gone. It's disappeared. I feel great now. And up she trots. And I'm thinking to myself, I bet she took an entity off that boy when she was angry. And I bet she's carried it for the past few days. I bet that's why she did that thing that she wouldn't ever have normally done, because she's a really heart-centered girl. And I'm thinking, oh no, so somebody else has got that now. Wonder who that is. And then the penny dropped. It was me! Because normally I'm the happiest person in the world. Takes a lot to make me angry. Um, so as soon as I realized, when I put two and two together, why I was pacing up and down in the hall, and I got this rage inside of me, like I wanted to turn into the biggest dragon in the world and literally just spray fire over everybody, I suddenly realized, you need to go and entity release yourself. So I explained to my husband what had happened, that I needed to go to bed early because I needed to do entity release on myself. And my husband was very relieved because I had been in a monstrous mood all that afternoon. So he was relieved that it wasn't there to stay. So we both went to bed early. He went to sleep and I laid there for an hour and I did entity release on myself. And yes, when I examined all of my energy centers, I had a very large energy in my throat and it had hopped over from my elder child when I'd shouted at her. And it was that energy that had tried to create havoc in my family by making my elder child do something very nasty to her younger sister. And that night, when she felt better after it hopped onto me, she went in to my younger child's room. And from her heart, she apologized. She said, I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it. I'm so sorry. Do you forgive me? And my younger child, obviously, because she's just such a sweetheart, forgave her. But I'm sharing this story because it's important for everybody, whether you have children or not, to understand that these energies are real. They are real. Just because you cannot see them with your eyes does not mean that they are not there. This is a teaching tool that I use for my students, but this here is the small part of the spectrum that we can see as humans. You've got all of this down here, which is where the low frequency entities live, and you've got all of this up here, which is where all of the higher frequency beings live, over into ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma. So just because you can't see the entities, it doesn't mean that they're not there. They are there. And they are the type of being that consumes light instead of emitting light. And because they are low frequency beings, they are always angry, or they're always sad, or they are evil. They desire power and control. So in the full spectrum of energies that it is possible to feel, the lower frequency, the lower vibrating energies are the ones that these things exude. So the one that had attached to my daughter's throat when she shouted at the boy, then influenced her actions and behaviors over that period of time for her to do something that she wouldn't normally do. And we're not talking like, I'm not talking something really bad, but I'm talking really bad for my children because my children are very, very heart-centered and they don't do anything that doesn't involve the heart. So it was bad for my children. And when I got angry with her because of what she had done, then that demon hopped into me. And this is the games that demons play. This is what destroys families. This is what rips families apart. This is what creates trauma within families that is so great that it affects the very fabric of the family line. It destroys relationships. And what most humans don't realize is it is not them that is doing this. It is these very, very strong energies that get in to our energy centers, siphon our light, and influence our emotions and behaviors. Now, all I can say, having carried that particular energy for the 3-4 hours that I carried it last week, unfortunately for me, it was a non-client facing week as well. So I had that time for that to occur and for me to realize what had happened. If it had been a client facing day, then maybe I wouldn't have realized for a little bit longer that something had got in. But because I am very in tune with my own energy and how I feel normally, I knew straight away something wasn't right. The level of anger that I felt carrying that thing for 3 to 4 hours, if that anger was attached to somebody who was a naturally low frequency or angry person, I felt a level of rage where I could have done anything. I could have moved mountains. So that's a very simple instance in a family we're all high frequency. We go out of our way to be heart-centered and high vibrational. But that's a scenario straight away that happened to me that will show you how easy it is for these things to get in. It's something as simple as a child being at a theme park that's had a really, really traumatic and upsetting life, that's not listened to at home, that's suppressed, that might have a mother or father that bullies them. And they then have to release the anxiety that they feel around that by smashing into another child in a car repeatedly until that child turns around and tells them to stop. Then that entity hops over into the shiny, sparkly child that has none of her energy centers taken. And then, very, very quickly, hops into me when I become triggered. So if I could give anybody some advice, and I've taken a lot, of learning from this point. And that is, you've got to practice what you preach at all times, not just with the people out there, but also with the people in your immediate circle as well. Because oftentimes they're the people that have that greater level of access to you, and they're the ones that can manipulate your emotions because you love them. Love is the key, isn't it? When we love people, they have the ability to hurt us. And it's when we feel that hurt, that's when we react. So you absolutely must, if you are on a path to ascension, and that's what this is all about. I have been on a personal journey towards my ascension for many years. I have always wanted to vibrate higher, to be the best that I can be, and to help other people access that too, to help people to heal, to help people to release density, to help people to free themselves and move forwards. In order for us to ascend, which means basically vibrating higher, so we need to vibrate higher into the ultraviolet gamma ray area of the spectrum. In order for us to vibrate higher, we have to clean each and every one of our energy centers, our chakras. We've got to take all of the entities out of these chakras. So we've got to deal with all of our traumas. And when we take these entities away from our chakras, all of these colors then blend together into white light, source light, the white light of source. At that point, we're no longer fractalized out into the individual colors. We can blend our colors and vibrate higher into this area of the spectrum. Once we're in this area of the spectrum, these guys can't come anywhere near us. They can't come anywhere near us because the frequency of the wave of light that they exist within cannot come near this. It's too big of a gap. The reason why we have been so screwed over by these entities is because of the nature of the energetic system of the human. We're not supposed to be traumatized. We are not supposed to be subjected to these beings that can feed off of our light. Unfortunately, as a species, we have traumatized each other over time, and it has allowed these lower frequency beings to get in and control us. What we have to do now is heal our trauma. Be aware once again that we are a rainbow, that we are a rainbow, a walking rainbow of light. Merge our colors back together, vibrate higher into the fifth dimension so that we're nowhere near these guys anymore. But for me to experience that this past week, in terms of just how much they can affect your emotions, it was absolutely mind-blowing for me. And I'm really glad that it happened because it then enables me to share that experience with you guys, for you to also understand. It can be something as simple as that will allow an entity onto your child. And then your child does something that causes you and your child to argue. And then it can get onto you. And if you start to feel in a place where you can't control your emotions, you feel so angry all the time and you don't understand why, or you feel so sad all the time, you can't stop crying, that's also an entity. If you're feeling sad all the time, it's because your sacral chakra is being parasited upon. If you feel anxious, fearful all of the time, it's because your root is being parasited on. If you feel a lack of confidence and insecurity all of the time, it's because your solar plexus is being parasited upon. if you feel like you can't speak up, or if conversely, you become very, very vicious and you attack people all the time. It's because your throat's been parasited upon. And symptoms for the third eye, if you have terrible visions or terrible nightmares, or there's many, many, many things that can happen with the third eye. Probably too many to mention. If you get lots of migraines as well, then it's because your third eye has been parasited upon. Lots of pain or pressure above the crown. It's because you've got something in the crown or the soul star. And these things, when they are attached, will affect your emotional state. 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, I carried that entity that had hopped onto my daughter. And how it affected me in those 3 hours. It's a good job I am the person that I am, because I just couldn't understand how I felt so angry. I got nothing to be angry about. Nothing. And then the penny dropped. Oh, wow. I've let something in by allowing myself to get triggered. So that's the lesson that I have for you guys this week. So it's only going to be a short video this week, but I want you to really, really think about your emotions, and they are the gateway to these things getting into your energetic body. We have to achieve emotional mastery. Emotions connect to the energetic, energetic connects to the physical. You must get to a space where you can navigate through your life without being triggered. There isn't anybody that can trigger me apart from my children and my husband. Anybody else in life doesn't bother me in the slightest. They can say anything they want to me. They can argue, they can call me every name under the sun. I'm used to it. I work with demons for a living. But yeah, my children, I guess, are the gateway to me because they have my heart. So for all of you guys to think about where your places are, where you're most likely to be triggered, and to think about how you can deal with those triggers, what you can do to ensure that you're not making yourself vulnerable. And two of the quickest places that you're ever going to get an entity is in the throat, through having an argument with somebody that has a throat entity, through the sacral, from having sex with somebody who has a sacral entity. And if you allow somebody to humiliate you, and this normally happens in childhood, so it's normally a parent, an overbearing sibling, a teacher, a doctor, somebody, a sports teachers, or if your child is competitive, so if your child has something that they do that's a competition, the teacher or the director of that also has the ability to affect your child's solar plexus. So they are the three areas that the quickest areas that you're most likely to get something in. So bear that in mind this week when you're out and about living your daily lives. There's many, many people out there that are so heavily triggered at the moment because they are carrying these angry, heavy energies. And having carried one for 3 hours last week, I don't envy those people, that's for sure. Give yourself the best possible journey moving forwards and try your level best not to be triggered and to get angry with anybody. Till the next time I see you guys, make sure you keep vibrating high. Bye, everybody. Bye.